Hello and welcome to Dinks with Kinks Live. I'm your host, John Dondero, and with me, as always, the very beautiful, the very stunning, the very God damn it, Jay, Miss Rebecca,
Hello, everyone.
and a man who loves to thrill us with puns and mark us with peculiar lessons, Mr. Shep.
No.
Hello. And of course, hello, audience. Hello, community. Welcome. If you're in the chat, say hello. Uh, you don't have to say hello by pop scaring. That's cool if you don't. Jay, you piece of shit. Um, because you know what? I didn't consent to that.
You did not consent to that. Well,
Actually,
actually,
I
you
absolutely
did
consented. I
because
consented to it because I
you
turned on the reward. I could turn it
yes.
off. If you
Hmm.
turned it back on, I wouldn't consent to it. If I turned it on
That's true.
you guys and said, "Hey, you guys are going to do a pop scares tonight, not me,"
Mhm.
that's not consent. But tonight we are talking consent and how it's evolved.
Yes,
Consent's
I
not
would
that
fully
important,
agree.
right?
Oh, it is absolutely the cornerstone of kink. It is the cornerstone of kink. Like I
I
don't
disagree.
go.
I think it's the center stone. I
I
think like consent is just the center stone. Like it is the main
Yeah,
pillar. It is what you
yeah,
build off of.
hmm
just
absolutely.
like we, without a doubt, consent to that outfit.
We do 100%, 100% consent to it. You know, I don't because
Thanks.
the camera angle is too high up. I see a lot of your sign. I see the top
Mhm.
of your hair. I don't need that. I don't need that view. But you know
We don't
what?
need that in our life.
Yeah. I don't need to know how your head ends. Okay. I don't need to know where it cuts off at. As
Oh
far as
yeah.
I'm concerned, your forehead could go 6 feet. We don't need to
Oh,
know.
got it. Got it. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Let me ask you guys, how do you define consent? Everybody has like their own little way of describing it, and I want to hear both of y'all's. So, how do you
Con
define consent?
consent is when you fully with complete knowledge and complete uh we mentally and emotionally can like give permission to allow something to happen and it has to be informed and enthusiastic. It has to be, you have to know what what you're saying yes to, and you also have to say yes to completely willingly with no hesitation. That is consent to me. If you have any hesitation, then you need to receive consent and not give it. That's
Also,
What about you,
yes,
Chip? Okay, so Chip, you're going with the same definition.
because hers is way better.
Well, it's not about way better. I mean, okay, so like for me, consent is informed decision. It doesn't have to be complete because consent can change, and consent doesn't. Consent can have its boundaries. Like I
hmm
consent to this,
It's
but
a
I don't consent
fluid.
to
It's
everything.
a state of
Yeah,
fluid.
it's a
Everything
very
can.
fluid statement, and
hmm
kind of what makes me curious about like everyone's view on consent. I mean, of course, we all think consent is super important, but it
hmm
does mean something different to everyone.
hmm
And then it's unless it's consensual non-consent, and then your consent means nothing.
well, then
It
you are
does because
consenting.
it's consensual. Yeah.
Yes. Maybe if it's need to know where the head ends. Okay, Jay. But I
Um.
think that for me, consent is informed. You have to be informed of what you're saying yes to. You have to know, hi Bear. Like that's why like it's important, informed and enthusiastic, meaning you have to 100% feel comfortable and enthusiastically be able to agree to what you are consenting to. No impairment whatsoever in that consent. That's what's important, is no impairment in that, whether it be mental or like a substance of what of any kind. You cannot give consent if you are impaired. That is
I
just, that's
agree.
also a big, big
What
thing.
about
I
the
agree.
rest of us,
And
Bear? Good.
no,
Hey, you beautiful people. I was like, what about the rest of us?
I'm beautiful. I'm super beautiful. I'm
Hmm.
so
Hallo, Calvino.
beautiful. Um, but I know I agree. I think consent is consent is different to everyone, and not
Hmm
just regarding other people, but themselves. Because, like I
Yes.
said, my definition for consent for somebody else, um, hey Miko, is even though you didn't say hey to me, you said hey to Shep, but it's cool, it's whatever. I still love Miko. Um, because like my consent, I have a looser standard of consent because I am very well capable of going, nope, stop. But I am much more metered, like I am much more protective of someone else's consent
Mm-hmm.
because I am not aware of your ability to stand up. And like I said, a lot of people I've been with, I know a lot of people, a lot of people who don't know when to say no to somebody and don't want to make people mad at them.
I am working on it. I am working on my fucking face. Thank you
I
very
was talking about
much.
Shep, but that's
Oh.
cool. Way to call your own trauma out. I was talking about Shep. All right, cool.
I say,
Reluctant consent is trash. I absolutely do not believe in reluctant consent. Not anywhere
No,
close. Nope.
I say
Nope.
no
I
to
knew
your
you were here,
advances all
Bear.
the
I
time. I
really,
don't
I
know
knew
about it.
you. I knew you were
Also,
here.
hey, Miko.
Um, but yeah, I am very conscious of people's consent, and and honestly, yeah, like my view on consent, like even though the core principles never changed, it has
Hmm.
evolved. It has grown so
Oh yeah.
much more because the more I understand, the more I know. And like I said, I think a lot of that comes with age. I love a lot of it comes with the technology that we're around because now we can talk to more people and mental health, more people are viewing mental health as things, so they're standing up for themselves, which is amazing. There were so many people who during the Me Too movement were like, oh, it's fucking ruining everything. I'm like, no, it's making everything better. The Me Too movement was probably one of the
Absolutely.
greated thing to ever happen across the board because
Especially
it
for the
it
BDSM community. It really did.
yeah,
It forced us to evaluate ourselves, and it forced us to bring a lot of the toxic behavior in regards to, like, power dynamics, and bring that into the open and be like, what is acceptable, what is healthy, what is safe versus what is not, and really
yeah.
actually make us think about it.
More of the good old boys. And like I said, I never flew in that crowd. Like when the Me Too movement happened, I honestly didn't have to change anything because I was already kind of on those practices of like it's all about respect, it's all about consent. Anybody who's ever dated me, even before any of those movements happened, no, I'm like, no, I'll ask before I do anything. I will
Mm-hmm.
always ask permission, and yeah, it does take what the quote unquote our traditional views of like romance, and we were talking about this before the stream, but like when you're on that first date and you go in for that kiss, and it just you felt the magic. I've never done that. I've always asked permission beforehand, and I have gotten flack from it from people I would like. Why did you just ask? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I am not going to assume that because I'm reading you feeling a certain way, I'm right because I'm never right. I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. I know I'm an
Because
idiot.
I'm a vampire. I need to be invited in.
Yeah,
I
but I
don't know.
mean, honest.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, well, I was just saying, is like the reason I did that. It wasn't so much, and honestly, the core of that, I would love to say, oh, it's all about consent. No, it was my inability to read people,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want. I would much rather have that awkward. I gotta ask than have that moment of I didn't want to kiss you. Why the fuck did you try to kiss me? Um, which some of us have actually experienced that moment that you don't mean to do something illicit or bad. Like, you're teenagers and you go for that kiss and you have a very bad experience. I never had that experience, but I've heard of them. I was never gonna have it because I suck at reading people. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where my core value of consent really came into was still a self preservation. But I think that's kind
Gotcha.
of evolved and changed as I've gotten older.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he got older, now it's, would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
I'd fuck me so hard.
See?
Oh my
See?
god.
See?
Where is it? 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 No, where is it? Where is it? It needs to happen now.
He's got to
It needs.
find it.
I've got to find it. It's been so long.
It's
It's
too
been
late to turn
so
back
long.
now.
Yeah, Oh, there it is.
I regret everything.
Who fucked her? I fucked her. I fucked her.
And
All
this
right, we're
is
not
where we
listening to
are
that whole
now.
song. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I like the surprise kisses. I do, but I don't think I think as and that's where how I know that I've evolved in that I no longer just like do things. Like I no longer just like you said, like I assume that somebody wants that or somebody, maybe they're not in the mood, maybe whatever. I don't ever just assume. I want to go, hey, can I kiss you, or or
Yeah.
even just hey, like I want to kiss. Can you kiss me? Hey?
Yeah.
Like or
It's the
something like
thing.
.
And don't get me wrong, I do like it because it's always been kind of my philosophy to do that, and it works for me. I'm cheeky. I am like, oh, I kind of want to kiss you, but I don't, and I will make a joke. Like I will ask for consent, but I'll try to make it as like a very fun, not awkward process. But
Oh no, I
so
try to make
you're
it as
still
awkward
very
as
much.
possible.
You'll pass consent
Oh,
notes.
I'm sorry. It is super awkward. It's just a different type of awkward.
Oh,
Let me let
gotcha,
me let me
gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
clarify that. I'm
Okay.
taking it from this awkward and going, let's move it into this awkward pile. Um,
Cool, cool, cool.
and yeah, we all get with our partners and we get comfortable and settled, and you do kind of push
Mhm.
back the bounds of consent. But I think a lot of people are more tighter on that level of consent when someone says, "I'm not in the mood," and you go, "Message received." And I've always been that way. If I go to my partner and they're not like gung ho, I'll just back off. I don't care. You know who always consents? That guy right
Pamela
there.
Anderson.
Randy? You've been hanging out with Randy again?
Randy.
um yeah, I consent is so important. Just get it,
Hmm.
like it is like I don't know, like and being able to understand, and that's the other thing is not only giving of the consent, which is what happened with the Me Too movement. This also evolved from that, the giving of consent, but the withdrawal of consent, that has become a much less taboo thing, as like the old guard
Yeah.
would say. It become one of those, well, why you shouldn't have limits, or you consented. No, like now it's the understanding that giving consent must be given enthusiastically and informed, but also must be able to withdraw consent at any time for whatever reason, regardless of whatever. Consent is withdrawn, period, end of story. That is not a debate. That
Hmm.
shouldn't be a whole thing. And I like that. I like the fact that
Yeah.
we've gone from this whole, well, you shouldn't have limits with your dom, like, to talk to me about where your hard stops are, and here's our safe word, and just know that you're safe anytime you call the safe word, we're good, like that, like
Yeah.
that's
And not just in the BDSM world, but I mean just like the come on, baby. I'm in the mood. That what I call the
coercion.
soft
Coercion.
coercion. Yeah, coercion. And I mean, I've never been that person. I might be cheeky. And like usually if I'm flirty with you and you tell me what I mean, I'm done with that type of flirty. I'm still gonna pick at you and try to annoy you. But not sexually. I am now going to steer myself in more, practical joke, hijinky, to see if I can elicit another fun reaction out of you, like either laughter or chucking something at my head, as we all know.
I don't Oh my god, I don't know how many times I've been approached like that. Like, no, thank you. Like, okay. Oh, come on, baby. No, I said no. I said no.
Just the tip?
Nope.
No. Or like, you're at night, you're crawling into bed and you do the little bump and another bump and about three more bumps.
Who's
And
that
you go,
knocking at
and
your
then and then you
door?
and then you stop and you go, I'm gonna wait for them to bump back. And if they don't bump back, we ain't doing it. And that is probably the max level of coercion you're gonna get out of me. Is that I'm going to introduce the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be like, well, and the minute you either do not because non-reciprocation to me is not consent. It doesn't have to be a stop. I don't want this. It's just a participation. Unless that is your thing, you want to do the whole dead fish thing, and that really turns you on. I'm fine with that, but you got to tell me beforehand because if you don't start participating, like if I do the little nudges, the non physical initiations, and you're just like no response to it, which is a lot of people's way of saying I'm just not in the mood, and I respect that. He's just like, okay, I'm not. So because I've had a partner go, why didn't you keep going? You didn't react. I know, but I was kind of into it. You have to let me know. If you don't tell me, consent is one of those things are it's a dual-edged sword because for that reason right there, when you have that, both parties have to update.
Mm-hmm.
Visual or verbal aid?
I wanted
Right.
them to try harder. Have you ever heard the phrase I wanted them to try harder?
Yeah, that.
We don't live in that world anymore. There is, the people who try harder, not good people, and the people who are good people will stop the minute, there's pushback. There's a phrase hard to get. I like the cat and mouse game. I do. I very much enjoy. But the minute I feel like it is, you are actually just, if you're not, come hither, I stop.
Do people play hard to get anymore?
I have met, okay, so in my year of dating, I met one person who did, they played hard to get, and I didn't feed it. And then I got lashed out about it. And they weren't old. They were older. They were roughly about my age, a little older. So they were still in that phase where, if you didn't know better, hard to get is still a thing. Like it wasn't that young crowd going, "I'm explicitly telling you, let's fuck or let's not."
Right.
But yeah, they're still in that thing. 'Cause let's be honest, we all play hard to get at some point in time, or have known people where hard to get was an actual thing. It was,
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then we
Oh.
yeah,
joined
it was an
Tinder
absolute
or
concept.
Grinder. Then it wasn't so hard.
Um,
But
And so she's like, "Why
yeah,
didn't you try harder?" And I'm like, "I'm not. That's not who I am. I am not that
right,
person. The minute I don't get the feelers that you are interested, I stop because I am
right.
not that person. I am not somebody who is going to harass.
Hmm.
But I've never been that way. I'm one of those people. If you play back, we can do hard to get all day long, but it's a two-party system. If you're gonna play hard to get, you gotta be like, you have to say the phrase, "Try harder."
I
Hey,
will,
Kane.
I will grasp that ass, but I will not harass that ass.
Exactly. I
Mm.
will play hard. I'll play with you hard to get all day long, but you got to qualify.
Right.
Try harder. Like, oh, you're not quite there yet. Keep going.
Well, I
You get,
think that that would,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. The hard to get thing is just nowadays, that's a whole, I personally feel playing hard to get is manipulative personally.
It
And
can.
again, this is my personal opinion, so don't
Yeah.
like docs like at me. This again, in my opinion, I feel like that whole hard to get that coy, like, yeah, like, no, like, I want to know. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I'm more experienced. Maybe it's because I
Well,
know more about myself and the kink and consent and communication, but I need to know. Like, if you're not into me, tell me you're not into me. If you're into me, tell me you're into me. Otherwise, fuck
See,
it. I'm not playing hard to get with you. And I'm not going to do
that's
this whole manipulation game. I'm not doing it.
that's
It's not.
that's the stuff I don't like. That is mixed messages, the manipulation. When someone, if you're gonna play hard to get, it is literally like, it's a delicate dance of cat and mouse where you're cheeky with one another, but you never at one point in time say back off. You never at one point in time send those mixed messages. You have to play the game, the flirty game where like I'm not
Mhm.
easy
I in some
and I'm
instances,
gonna make you work for it, but I'm gonna let you know you're on the right path. Go ahead, Chip. Sorry.
no, no, no. I was just in some instances though, you might want to separate the um the mixed messages and the hard to get because in one
Mhm.
of our particular fetishes, primal and prey, that's part of the game.
but
So that's
that's
why
Well,
I'm very
we're
different.
not
specific. That's
talking.
why
We're not.
that's why I
Yeah.
separate the mixed messages and the cat and mouse hard to
No,
get type of thing.
because like I said, I'm not talking
A
about
little
like
bit, just
I
a little
don't
bit.
like. I like I said, I enjoy playing that cat and mouse hard to get thing, but it's not primal. It has nothing to do with primal kink. It has everything to do with like more of a like elegance, more of a like sophistication of like courtship, and it's really hard to explain, but it is like that coy back and forth, like good banter. It's flirting. It
Oh,
is
I
proper,
understand.
honest to God flirting.
And that's why just in the world of perceptions, that's why I say there's little caveats to some specific
Yeah.
wordings. That's all.
But
W-
there's a difference between what he is saying and then what I was saying of
Yes,
mixed messages is a form of manipulation. It that at that point in time,
specifically, yes.
Right.
that's not a game. That is a game, but it's not a healthy game. It's
Yeah,
what
mixed
I'm talking about
messages,
is
not at
like
all.
the come hither boy, but you got to try hard.
Yes.
It would have been
When
harder if you
you
had acknowledged it. Mm.
when you first started, because you guys started much, I mean, much earlier than me, but like when you first started in the community and into the scene, what was consent? How were you explained consent?
We weren't. I wasn't. No one ever explained it to me.
Really?
No one ever took the time to talk about it, to say it. I am not saying that I just went into it blind and didn't know anything about it. I mean, I knew my own thing. I knew,
Hmm.
just common decency of is it I don't go for the unrequited.
Hmm.
So, it was one of those points no one ever had to come explain consent. But like, we're doing a podcast and we're talking about consent right now. There was none of
Hmm.
that when I started. It was just like a welcome to the king community. You either know the shit or you don't. We're going to talk to you when you have a problem.
Right.
There was no open discussion. It wasn't like, hey, let's just sit down and talk consent for a hot minute. Like our opinions on it, like how it's like what we're doing right now. There was none of that. There really wasn't.
Hmm.
It was a very predatorial, community.
Right.
And I have personally witnessed it be predatorial on multiple levels. In fact, I fought hard, like very hard to get a lot of people away from the community I was in and set
Hmm.
a standard. And there are still people getting flack for incidences in the past. So,
Well,
w-
well,
go
it's
ahead.
just one of those. I find it interesting because consent wasn't explained to me either, but it's one of those. It's so important to
Hmm.
me, and it's just so important to us as in our community and like. It's so important, and just we weren't ever given that opportunity when we first started, like ever, like that opportunity to understand what that was, and we had to like learn the hard way almost. At least
It
at
was,
least I
and
did.
I'm I'm sorry. A lot of the kink community, especially back then, is very predatorial. And unfortunately, a lot of places still are. I mean, predators still lurk in the shadows everywhere. At least now we're getting
In every
stronger
facet
and
of
more.
life.
Yeah, every facet of life, and not just
Mhm.
the BDSM world, but like personal lives, everything. Predators, they're always wolves in the woods. Um, and the woods are a fun place to play, so, but you always have to be aware. But yeah, I've
Right.
never had before. Honestly, before I started talking kink openly, I had never once had a conversation with someone other than like my partner when we're talking about opinions or something like that about consent. There was never open dialogue about it. And I mean, it bothered when you get older and then you learn. And then we started doing this podcast. I was appalled looking back, like, oh, fuck. I
Mhm.
could have done so much shit and gotten away with it because I've seen people do so much shit and get away with it in the guise of BDSM, kink, all of that. And I'm like, fucking monsters. And there's not shit you can do about it at the time because you can't go back in time and change it. And you see it, and then you like learn about it later. I'm like, we should have all seen the signs. We should. I think we're in an environment now where people look out for signs, and
Yeah.
people are louder about standing up and know they can stand up.
And I saw a
And
sign.
so much has
Um,
changed just in the. Oh, go ahead.
well, I think like you said, like all of the you we looking back on it, it was a very scary thing if you were a sub in back
Mhm.
then. Like, and we're not, when we say back then, we're not talking like, you know, 40 or 50 years ago. We're talking like 10 or 15. Like, this isn't that like far removed from
Yeah,
like, so when we say back then, it's not that long ago, but because it
we're old,
was
but we ain't that old.
right. And it was so much of the whole, if you get collared, you have no limits. Like, you don't say no to like your submission was a complete submission. It wasn't ever like that it was just one of those, like, if you felt uncomfortable, that, well, tough shit, like that,
Should
like
yeah,
that.
touch bricks. We're gonna cast you out. And
Right.
I'm not going to say that the whole community was like that because, like I said, I wasn't like that. I know Shep wasn't like that. There were many people who did have these core values then, but
Right.
there weren't enough of us to make it the majority.
Yes.
And
And
one
it's,
of the oh, go ahead, Shep.
I was just saying, it's those quiet whispers and those quiet little building blocks that actually became the basis of what things are today.
Hmm.
Because, since we're talking about the evolution of consent, when you realize what we came from, how, I guess you could say, in a way, prudish, for lack of a better word, we were in those early years, even with the aspects of sex. And we were governed by such very fixated books, religious undertones, and stuff like that. How life had to be, and what could be, and what can't be, who's in charge, who's not, all that jazz. And then over time, finally, we started to be okay to even talk about sex. And then finally, the same kind of revolution started with BDSM. Started off with the experimentation, the quiet whispers in the dark places where no one would see it, until finally it started to catch on more, and then many times it was abused and used. 50 Shades of Grey. And and then it was the building upon the right ways of doing things, the equality built into everything, and the fear, or removing the fear to not speak up and do the right thing and communicate, that started to get it to where we live today.
And a great example of this, and this is one of the big points I want to make. Okay, so there is an event that me and Shep go to called Purgatory. And we had the first one a couple weeks back. We talked about it on the live stream and all that because we're actually now we are officially one of the hosts. Dinks with Kinks is now an official host of Purgatory. I didn't know it; it just happened, and then I was told about it later, and I was like, "Cool." Um, I think Shep set it up. Um, anyway,
I
so
show up, I
we
don't
hadn't
set up.
gone to one since before the pandemic, and just in that short time, what the whole world changed and as
Mm-hmm.
far as like consent came and going there, when you were in your crowd in your kink event, we had never once talked about vetting. We had never once talked about like we never had to address it because of the type of event we were. We're a public event, so we don't vet. But we had to tell people, listen, we are not the purgatory event is not a community; it's an event. We are a public event. There is kink here. It is what we call commercial kink. So, the
Entertainment,
people
kink, yeah.
your vetting process is a credit card.
Right.
And so we wanted to, and it was one of those things we had to inform people, please be cautious. We've never had to do that before. We've never, and we should have, but it never crossed anybody's mind to make it such a very resounding of, listen, yes, we're a kink event, we're a kink party, but we are not a kink community. We need to stress this to you because we have gotten so comfortable in these kink events where vetting is taking place. Everyone knows the rules. Everyone has to follow them, and there's people in charge. Yes, we have security. We are watching. We are making sure no one's breaking the rules. But that system is only dependent on, will you speak up if you're uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
We need you to, because we don't want to step in until we know there's a problem because we are not vetting people. And there's no way to vet like a public event like that. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like the big, we had to sit down at a table and discuss, how are we going to do this? Like, how are we going to hold purgatory in this new world
Mm-hmm.
where kink is so much evolved in such a healthy, positive way. And that was it. It was just like, we have to inform people. You have to keep people as informed as possible. Yes, we are a kink event, but we are not a kink community. We are not built on that. We are like your introduction to kink. Like, it's like a commercial for kink. So you find the people and find the groups to go meet and go vet and do all the proper things. That's why we have station doms. We don't let anybody just dom. Shep is a dom there. He is vetted and tested. We don't let anybody just come in there and start doing kink. If you want to go experience like that, you have to go to our people. And in a kink event, you come with your partner, you experience with your partner, or find a new partner and kind of do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Or
not
you
how like purgatory has ever worked.
or you give me your partner for a few, and then you reap the
Mhm.
rewards later.
Yeah. So and it was one of those new frontiers of like, and it felt like doing our very first show all over again because we had all these concerns, we had all these worries, and I'm like, when I started hosting these events, I'd come up, talk to people, and I would put my hand on their shoulder, talk to them, do this whole spiel, and that's because that's how you did things.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back, I didn't touch a single person. Everybody that I hugged and embraced got asked beforehand. It wasn't like, I remember purgatories, I remember kink events where if you were there, you got your ass slapped. Somebody walked by, just slap your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, male, female, ass slap, walk by.
Mm-hmm.
No one mind, no one cared. It's not right.
No.
And it's not how you do things nowadays. And I was really proud that we were all like, not how we do things anymore, people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like there, you can tell like who subscribes to the old guard. That's how I refer to him. Like that whole where no boundaries and consent and all of that is all you have to do. And we've talked about this before. Is ask them, what are your views on safe words? What's your view on
Hmm.
safe words? And you know exactly where they stand on consent, and you know exactly where they stand on any of that because you ask them how they feel about safe words, and that's exactly, you know, where they stand. And
Yeah.
it's, you have to be you do have to be careful, and you can't just go to these events. And I know, like, locally, here in Houston, like, I don't even consider a group like even attending if they just be like, yeah, sure, come to our party. Like, they're, if there, you do vetting, like, okay, we're going to meet at this restaurant for, and we have to know, like, meet you at least 2 or 3 times before you're in, like allowing them to consent to you and you to consent to them and to get to know, like, and that's a whole thing that didn't happen. Like, you didn't just show up at some, like, you used to just show up at some random person's party and just have a good time. Like, that was just what you did. No vetting, none
Hey,
of that
Shep,
shit.
read what Calvino said and realize what the person who runs its real name is.
I know. I know.
That sorry, Calvino said. I heard some guy named Charles was in charge. You know, Charles in charge.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who runs it, Torch, his real name is Charles.
Not that he would ever want to advertise that, but yeah.
No, that's actually you know what? That's not even the name he goes by. That's just his first legal name. That if you email him, that's what you have to email him under. Um, but you're
Mhm.
right. It's a world of vetting, and it's safer. It's better, so you can be more relaxed. You can more consent. But I never wanted to stop doing like these public events
Mhm.
because there is that freedom of I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where to go for a munch. I don't know how to meet these people. You can meet all these people here.
Right.
You can get, and that's what we tell people. This is not a kink party. This is a kink introduction. This is like that.
Mhm.
This is that meeting room where you go and meet somebody and you start vetting them there. You can experience kink by our professionals, and you have to sign up for that. Like we do everything by the book, and we keep very tight and very strict because you have to. If we
Yeah.
see somebody flogging somebody out and about, we're like, I don't know, I don't know that they have considered that. They didn't sign the paperwork. Like we do
Right.
waivers. Like when you sign up for it, that's a waiver that you are consenting to this, and that your consent can be retracted the minute you tell us. And we know our people will stop.
Mhm.
And that's how you tell old guard is are they
Mhm.
at these events? Are they at other kink events? Because if they're
Mhm.
not, that old guard, yeah, they're probably old guard. We're
Yeah. I
no, shit, me and you are not old guard. We evolved. We changed.
I don't know. I'm still one of those old ones though, but
Oh no, we're old.
I was always this
We're
way.
not
That's
talking
all.
old guard. Old guard is not an age thing. Old guard is a mentality. Because you can be old guard and be 20.
there's a lot of people I know that when they do their research and they learn and they learn under the old way,
Hmm.
and they learn and they learn, and that's what their idea of the community is. And I mean, yes, that is a part of it, but there's like a like you said, we're in a whole new world. Like that doesn't like that, and that is not acceptable to a lot of people now. Like kink is
No.
customizable, consent is key, respect and communication, those things that a lot of people of the old guard don't do. They just want to have somebody that they can control, or somebody to control them, and it doesn't matter. Like, and there, none of that matters. Like, you can go through this entire power dynamic relationship and never have a lot of horrible things happen to you, and the person will go, well, you consented to it. Well, oh,
Yeah,
no.
okay. And the hardest part about this and the hardest part about kink is there's a lot of kinks that abuse and kink are on the same surface level of appearance.
Hmm.
Where if you don't know enough, if you don't know anything, they're one and the same. If you don't know,
Right.
and it's not the people being bad or you being bad. It's you being unknowledgeable, them potentially being unknowledgeable, or just a monster. You don't know. That's the thing. Is this person I'm into kink because I like to beat and hit and all that. It's abusive. I'm not trying to be abusive. I just don't know. I'm dumb.
Right.
And I mean, not me personally, but I mean, this is so you have that like weird ground where you can have here's a bead of poison, here's a cake pop of poison, here's a cake pop of deliciousness. They look exactly the same on the outside.
Hmm. You want to know another weird area of kink that I'm actually glad that I'm watching the evolution of this now, and I am so here for it. And it has to do with consent. Consent to honorifics. Consent to call somebody daddy. Like there's so, or baby or princess or kitten or whatever, sir, all of these things. Like, you used to just throw those things around. That just used to be, you just called them that. But now there's so many in the community, you're like, do not call me that. I'm not. I have somebody, or we have not entered into that. That is not something I have consented to. Don't call me that. Don't call me that. Don't say those things like the honorifics between two people, and like I did not consent for you to call me princess, like I or baby girl or
Oh no,
whatever. Like that's
I would
we are
never
not in that dynamic.
I would never refer to anybody I would never use honorifics on anybody if I wasn't acknowledged by people. And I can't stand when people do that. I don't want you to do it to me. Don't call me daddy. I don't fucking know you. I
Hmm.
ain't your daddy. I didn't fuck your mom.
Right.
Then why do you
So,
why are those whispers then when the tender forehead kisses? Hmm? I never said that.
You can call. I consented to you calling me daddy.
Well, wait, what?
Um. Yep. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't. I've never believed with honorifics being used without relation, like the structural integrity behind them. Like,
mhm.
I'm like, I'm not gonna call anybody baby girl. If I call you baby girl, it's going to be like, hey baby girl, let me put it in your butt. It's not gonna be something I'm calling you that. I'm
Right.
me and
That's
you
not
know
much
each
better.
other. It's no, it's not. But like you you have consented to the fact that I'm gonna mess with you like that. Like it is still a
Right.
basis of consent.
But
Um,
that's the thing is so many people like and I watch it mostly like on TikTok, on Kink Talk, where like they're talking and they're all like, please don't. They're like, please don't call me daddy. I'm not your daddy. Like that is not okay. And I love the fact that we're not just taking that, because it didn't seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal, because
yeah,
when you enter into that type of power dynamic relationship with somebody, that's a special thing between you and your dom, or you and your sub. That is a special thing that you both discuss and communicate and come up with in it, and that is your person. And you don't just go calling everybody your person. Like that's not okay,
hey,
and it's
y-
not okay to throw it around.
fun story. I do not like to be called daddy by anybody. Even like I have never consented to people calling me daddy. And the main reason is I have kids. I have a little girl who calls me daddy. And the minute you call me daddy, I'm like, I can no longer associate you with that. Sorry, because in my head I've already taken that slot, put it there.
Yeah.
You can call me sir, you can call me mister, you can call me you can call me any type of word of power. Do not call me daddy. Because at that point in time, I have no longer have any sexual arousal to that. Because I immediately, yeah, I can't do the daddy thing because I've already associated that. Like I associated that well before even that because no one ever called me daddy. I was always like, I like sir. If I'm gonna dom you, call me sir.
Mhm.
And I mean, like I said, I have no problem with other people being called daddy. I have no problem with the phrase daddy in general. I'm just like, for me
But
personally, I don't find arousal in it.
right. And again,
Yeah.
it's all about consent. It's like you're not like no one should
Yes.
call you sir without your permission. No one should call me
Oh no,
like
everybody can
baby
call me
girl.
sir without permission. That's why I like sir
But we
because it's
did
still
learn.
just a form of politeness.
I
I'm
hate
sorry,
I
sir.
hate sir. I hate sir. But as we learned from John's little one though, I was his daddy, right? One time.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was funny. And
What?
was the daddy of the house.
Daddy of the house.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
because my daughter refers to anybody who she thinks is in charge as daddy. So she thought Shep was my dad
That's
because she thought
funny.
Shep was in charge, and I was like, "You're fucking kidding me,
Captain, my
right?"
captain. Shut up, Kelby.
Captain, my captain, I will take.
Okay.
You can call me captain. But I know
Yes.
I like sir because, like I said, sir is one of those honorifics that, depending on how you said it, I'm not going to be offended if you call me sir. If you say, I'm sorry, sir. it's a form of politeness, and like I dig that. I kind of dig that it's universal, and it is not a necessarily. I'm sorry if I'm not your dad and you're calling me daddy. There's no appropriate situation for that, unless you're like daddy, daddy upsies, and you're being funny.
I think I may have accepted that honorific once or twice in
I don't know.
That
life.
is
I
I
just
like the
knew.
daddy honorific, but I'm
I,
also not being called daddy either. So
Can
well,
I call
I
you
just
daddy?
knew at the time
Do I
that
have consent to call you daddy?
it
you,
enabled the person to have that necessary regression, the safe space, as it were.
John, you can call me daddy.
Okay, you will be the one person I will call daddy.
Okay.
Daddy Becca.
Um,
I
Daddy
I
Becca.
hate also when okay, the difference now and also the difference between old guard versus new is that if they find out you're a sub like in an event or whatever,
Oh,
they try to dom you like and order you around and I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? And you're like, oh, like and talk disrespectful to you and just try to because just because I identify
I
as a
call them
sub,
the
I'm
Uber
like,
Doms.
I'm not your sub.
The
And I did not consent to that. So you get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just being a brat. No, I'm being a bitch. And you're about to find out to see how much of one I'm going to be. Like,
Yeah, but there's other
so
times where
um
I'm like, a sub, not another sub. I need a break.
I'm one of those people I do not like people assuming because they are a dom all subs are their sub. Like what they call the Uber Dom, where they're like, I'm a Dom, so oh, you tell me you're a sub, sub, and I'm like, no, no, that's just a classification of people. It's like I consider myself male. Rebecca, what gender do you personify to?
I, I identify as female.
Okay, can I judge you based on that fact, or should I just assume that you're female and go about my day? That's how I feel about Dom and Sub.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same thing when it comes to pronouns or gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion on you is not going to change based on how you identify. And that is something that it actually still runs rampant in the Dom Sub community, in the BDSM community, of I'm going to assume that. And
Yeah.
it's a fucking appalling because I'm not going to
Yeah.
assume you tell me you're a girl, I'm straight. Well, you're my girlfriend. You're a girl, so
I
I
mean,
don't know
yeah.
how many people they like. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a sub, and I'm like, why are you fucking talking to me that way? Because that why don't talk to me that way? Like, mm,
Yeah, it just makes
it's
me want to
annoying.
full derp sometimes. I'm like, me? Dom? No. I flog good. That yeah, that's it.
I
No.
mean, there's nothing wrong with having that dynamic. But yeah, anytime someone tells me they're a sub, like I'm like, oh, and we start communicating, they're like, oh, I'm a sub. I go, that's fantastic. I'm glad you know what you are. And you ever experienced a healthy dub. So, like, I will immediately go to that conversation and start asking 1,001 questions. I want to know. I want to know all your
Right.
stuff. And I've talked to so many people about, like, and most people are very shocked when I respond that way. Like, I've talked to a lot, especially older, like older women. When I was doing the dating page, every time I talked to an older woman, they said, I'm very sub. And I didn't immediately jump into that. Some were actually like, "That's not why I told you." Like, they were assuming telling me a sub was that was their consent. I'm like, "No.
And
Two
consent goes
ways,
both
my friend."
ways. Yes, goes
Yeah.
both ways. Like I can be sit here and I want you to dom me all night long. If you don't want to, that's not gonna happen. Like I can sit here and go, I'm a sub. You could do this stuff. If you don't want to consent, doms can say safe words too. And that was a whole thing. That you want to talk about evolution? You want to talk about evolution of consent? It was that whole Doms couldn't withdraw consent either. Like Doms, like it was one of those, no, if you call the safe word, if you're not feeling it or something happens, call the safe word. Withdraw your consent. It's okay. It doesn't matter what I think about it. We'll do the aftercare and then we'll figure it out. But the consent goes both ways.
That
It goes
is, and
both
sadly,
ways.
that is where we're at right now, and we're getting to this point where you know men are having accountability, and they've been called out for accountability a lot, and I'm happy about it. I'm very
We'll
happy
just
about it.
say doms, not just men,
N-
just doms,
No, no, I'm
because
I'm
it
talking
works
about the Me
in
Too
all the
movement.
genders.
This
Oh yes, yes.
yeah, this is a flat line. This is not Dom Sob. This is across the board. Men during the Me Too movement were called out for accountability, and that's
Mhm.
fucking amazing, and I love it. And I'm like, yes, please. And now there has been a lot of pushback about men pulling that same accountability and saying, "Oh no, we can withdraw consent too." Well, you're not a man. The fuck I ain't. I'm just withdrawing consent. And yeah, Dom sub is a branch tree of that. Like same, it's the same identity. Like it's not. I don't mean male and female. I'm more or less talking about the identification of yeah, but you are the powerful one in this one. You are the man, the dom, the leader. You just have to take it. And Shep is right. It's not gender bias when it comes to that. When it comes to dom sub, because male and female can be doms, but it is across the board where you have that accountability. And I have experienced during my dating thing, I experienced that. I withdrew consent, and I got filleted into, and I was like, the, if the shoes were on the other, if the foot was on the like the shoes were on the other feet, if this was me doing this to you, I would be canceled. Everybody in the world would know, and I would be canceled. You're doing it, and you're like, but it's my, like I'm hot. Fucking deal with it. Like fuck you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
And it's
sometimes.
a,
Okay.
accountability has to go across the board.
Hmm. The
You know,
idea of powers.
sometimes you're in the mood for a sub. Sometimes you're in the mood for Subway. You know.
Now I will say this: the sub has all the power. I've always known that. I've known
Yes.
that from the gate because I educated myself. That hasn't something that has evolved. If you were truly a dom, even in the old guard, if you educated, you knew that because that was one of the first things Shep ever told me, and this is years ago, back in the day. I knew that,
Mhm.
but I'm glad it's becoming. I'm glad there's shows like this where it's becoming very talked about.
I just the that's I hate that you when you withdrew consent, like that is something that is super important to me. It is the foundation of what my kink philosophy is. In my kink belief is that consent, first off, consent is given by both parties. Consent is given by both parties. Consent can be withdrawn by both parties. Also, understand that when consent is withdrawn, what happens? And that goes both ways. How can I care for you if, like, you were my Dom and you withdrew consent? Because obviously you withdrew consent for a reason. So we need to, like, what can I do? Like, don't, I'm, older generations, they used to think, well, I'm the sub, I don't have to take care of him. No, that's like, no, he is like, they are just as an important part of the power dynamic as you are. Like, you need to make sure that consent, communication, and respect go both ways all the time, consistently. Like, it doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing. And if they withdraw consent, that you need to make sure that you are absolutely 100% present with them. Just like if you withdrew consent from them, they are there for you. Like, it is a give and take. And I don't, and I just, that is just my foundation of my philosophy in anything. And I hate the fact that, like, you withdrew consent in a power, like you were doming somebody. Like, that's not okay. That's not okay. That
Yeah.
you to be like, I withdrew consent, and they don't need to, like, they need to go, are you okay? What's going on? They need to check in on you. Like, I, oh, it's infuriating.
It's very
What is
infuriating.
this witchcraft you speak of?
And like I said, yeah, it happens all the time at like, and believe it or not, content stuff like this happened for years. I've had this. This wasn't like the first time I had it. I've had it before. Any movement before we were starting to get like very enlightened, and it would happen like intoxicated females at clubs and whatnot.
Hmm.
Be like, no, you're gonna want me. No, I don't. Please respect them. Yeah. So what I say is, yes, men are absolutely the problem across the board when it comes to like that because 90% of the predatorial instincts are men. And I'm sorry, man, I'm gonna call you out. We are. And we need to do better. It is something that happens on both sides of the gender spectrum, on both sides of the subdom relationship, on both sides of the kink spectrum. There is
Hmm.
no perfectly safe side, and
Mm-mm.
there's no side free of accountability and free of consent.
The consensual
Uh,
side.
No, I mean here's the thing is, but there's no side that's this like, oh no, but we're not the problem. Everybody's the problem here. There is no one way or another. Brats like Rebecca, you have many times
I mean,
did
brats can be the
the
problem.
brat
I
versus
mean, it's
bitch,
God Almighty.
and that is it. That's the argument right there, or the dom the abuser.
right.
The
Right.
differences. And Sean said earlier the difference between abuse and kink is consent. That's not always the case because
Mm.
it, there's a difference between consenting and still being abused, but you're okay with the abuse. Doesn't mean it's healthy, doesn't mean it's right.
Right. Right.
Just because you're accepting that level, you are also accountability to yourself.
Right.
And that's, I think, the biggest part of how consent is evolving
Hmm.
is self accountability. How many times have
Yes.
you consented to something that you shouldn't have consented to?
Yes.
More times than you
That.
probably like to admit, right?
Hmm.
And and I've been preaching on this in D101 a lot here lately. You're a grown ass adult, and but that goes and when I say something like that means you are accountable for yourself above all else.
Hmm.
No one can tell you otherwise. No one can put you in timeout. No one can do something that you are not comfortable with. And if you allow it to happen, you are failing yourself, not them.
Wait,
Hmm.
he does content on other places? Wait,
Nah.
He
okay, all
tries.
right, okay.
We
I
So
believe
try.
he tries.
you
He's
had me
trying.
for a
Kinda.
second there.
And that's what I think I'm the biggest pusher right now is self accountability. And not just checking your behavior to others, checking your behavior to yourself.
Hmm. Right.
And that is, I think that's going to be the hardest thing to struggle because, yeah, we don't take the best care of ourselves. And I don't mean us, I mean people in general. People will consent to a lot more things they're willing to do because they want to be liked. They don't want someone mad at them. They don't want to feel any negative blowback. Uh, John did content canceled. That's why my nipples are canceled because they're solid content. We can't have that
and
shit.
and even the best of us make consent mistakes.
Hmm.
Sean's shower did not consent to that waffle stomping, but John still did it.
Yeah.
Sean's shower absolutely consented. It was like stomp on me, stomp it down, baby. Um,
Uh.
yeah, that's the sound it made. Um,
Uh.
but and this is where the biggest fight we're gonna have in the future with consent, and the biggest evolution we need to make as a people, as a community, is your self consent.
Hmm.
Stop consenting to things you don't want to do. And I'm not talking just to you, Rebecca. I'm not talking to Shep. I'm talking about people in general. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Everybody here has consented to something they weren't comfortable with because they're enablers or they don't want to make somebody upset or they're lonely. There's a million reasons why there's a million reasons why you will give away your own consent to
Hmm.
yourself and to others that are not for the right reasons. And they're not wrong reasons. I'm not going to tell anybody here, you're wrong for doing that because you have to feed those needs too. I'm sorry. Sometimes you have to feel like people are not mad at you, and that's okay. Doesn't mean you're not accountable for it. 2023, I'm making everybody accountable for all their shit, including myself.
Oh, really?
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 Call me out.
Oh, time for that.
I am doing a
Yeah.
great job. I will take that praise. Thank you very much.
Was it given?
No, I gave
Hmm.
myself praise. I consented to my own
I
praise.
well, good for you,
Hmm.
John. I don't disagree. I think that is something we just have to, and again, it goes with informed and enthusiastic consent. And that also
Mm-hmm.
means to yourself, like in that accountability. If you have a doubt, if you have that doubt, if you feel like you still need more information, don't give your consent. Just don't do it. Like and that's on you. That is on you. Like you can say no. And it doesn't matter if they are your dom. And it doesn't matter if they're your spouse, your significant other. It doesn't matter. It does not matter who they are. If you feel at any point uncomfortable or uninformed and you don't feel safe, don't give your consent. It doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter or what their role is. Don't give it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And if
I
they're going to
agree.
get mad, then you don't need to be in that power dynamic.
Except
If
with the
they're
There
going to
you
male
get
go.
games.
mad, and that goes both ways, subs, that goes both ways. If you're going to get pissed off, if your Dom says no because they don't feel comfortable, then you don't need to be in that power dynamic. You need to
Mm-hmm.
respect them. You need to respect them. Here's out all my subs. You respect your Dom, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Don't be a bitch.
And what typically happens, and I'm not blaming I'm not calling one person out because this is what we all do. I gave you my consent, but I didn't give it enthusiastically, and I'm going to blame you for me giving you consent. And I mean, it's something that happens. I'm going to say you're the monster here because I gave consent, but I didn't really want to give consent. It's not the other person's fault. It is not because
No.
I don't. Okay, so you say enthusiastically consent. What
Mhm.
if you have the emotional range of a rock? I can't get enthusiastic about something. I can't get upset about something. I'm a very Wednesday Adams. I have low emotional thing. So but I don't know you. If you're consenting to me, you're consenting to me.
Mhm.
And because I've done it too, I've given consent where I didn't feel comfortable. And part of me was like mad at the other person for not realizing, not picking up on those signs. I'm like, but would I pick up on those signs? If you consented to me and you didn't want to, would I be able to read that?
Right.
Because I suck. I literally said this. The reason I always ask, because I suck at reading people. So
What?
every moment you have that moment where you're like, I blame this person for not being able to not hear the enthusiasm behind my consent and not hearing my trepidation. That's why consent is there. Consent is to say, there's no trepidation. Go. So that's another thing people need to stop doing. Stop blaming others for not being able to read your non-consent consent.
Let's
Mhm.
do it. I'm excited.
I legitimately know people like that.
I'm just thankful on
Um,
my screen you pointed it at her, not me.
I know, like I had to look over the live feed so I knew I was making sure I was pointing at the right person. I was pointing at
It's
Chef.
like,
Um,
Well,
but
my
yeah,
live feed you're
people
not,
don't
so
have
I'm
that.
happy.
But also, there are people out there who are autistic. They cannot read subtext. They can't. It's
mhm.
again.
You only calling me out so much in 5 minutes,
I
okay?
wasn't actually. I was calling you. I was calling out somebody else that I care very much about in this community. Um, they cannot read subtext. their inability. That shouldn't negate them from having fun.
No.
That's why informed consent, informed consent is specifying exactly what it is. Informed consent is not just, I know everything you're going to do to me, but I want you to know that I'm okay with
Hmm.
everything. That
Right.
informed consent goes both ways. Like, you don't have to give me just consent. You have to inform me that you are aware of the consent you are giving me,
Right.
and you're okay with that consent.
I'm okay because I can still
Subtext
make
is hard for doms to
happiness.
read into a time.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness.
Happiness.
Yeah, Calvin is right. Subtext is hard to read for doms to read at time. Read at the time. Yeah, especially if you're in a scene.
Hmm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
good God, consensual non-consent could go south so fast if you are saying this is my kink and it's not, but you're playing the part of consensual non-consent.
It's the difference between ooh and ah. Mhm.
And ooh la la. Ah. So, man, I
Yes,
really got on a soapbox today.
you did.
Happy about
You
it.
did. No, it's fine. It's good. It's
It's
something that has
fine. It's
to be.
fine. It's good stuff.
I mean, that does need to be discussed. I mean, because the information of the old guard, the traditional way of doing things is still out there, and that's how some people are finding that and learning from that, and so it's important that we also provide a balance to that information. And just like I there is very little of that philosophy of how things are done that I can subscribe to, because I am very much about respect for the power dynamic, respect for the sub, as well as respect for the dom, and the communication, and having consent, and safe words, and being able to withdraw that at any time, and having that's not that's not giving me the opportunity to withdraw consent at any time is not me being weak. It's not me. It's just me being respected. It's just respect. It's respect for me as a sub, and it's respect for my dom. Like, it's a respect thing. If you don't
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Right, if you don't want to do it today, don't do it. Just say no, and it's okay. It's all about communication.
Mhm.
And you're right, Cavino. We definitely need more John soap boxing, but some John shadow boxing would be kind of cool too.
I would like to shadow box. That'd be pretty nice.
See, see?
No, I'm just, therapy is helping a whole lot. I'm going in a new direction in therapy. And I'm trying to be better at things that I am bad at. And part of being better at what you are is recognizing how the world is not better at what they are. And if you're going to care for people, you can't just stand by and let them, you know, if you don't voice your opinion and call people out, you can't expect anybody else to do the same for you.
Mhm. Right.
And I would much rather people hate me because I don't like to see them do stuff to hurt themselves than not like me because I'm like, no, hurt yourself. I don't give a fuck. See, right when you say it like that, it's like, oh shit. Because I am having to learn how to take compliments, and I'm not happy about it.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Cool, cool. I'm glad to know. All right. So for D101,
You don't have the cojones.
Or the content.
to compliment you, and praise you
Wait a minute.
all
You
episode
don't. You
long?
don't have. Wait a minute. But
Oh,
but it
Wait,
all be
uh-huh.
wait,
lies.
No,
That's
wait.
here's the thing is you can
no.
compliment me wrong. It'll all be lies because I've been a big piece
Oh,
of shit.
oh,
How,
okay.
why
Okay.
do you think
Uh-huh.
I've jumped on this soapbox? You can't praise that.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
can't praise a
can
man on a
praise the
soapbox.
cleanliness of the after effects of your soap.
John,
There's no soap in it.
you are doing such a great job. I am so glad that you are getting the help you need, and that you are spreading the awareness to all these people. It is a good thing. You are doing a good and noble thing.
It's
Okay,
definitely an
I'll
upgrade
take the first
from
part
spreading your
of I
cheeks.
will see like this is what I'm doing. I'm taking the actual compliment. The I'm getting help and bettering myself. Thank you. I'm very happy about doing that. Everything else you said was bullshit, and I'm just not gonna tolerate that.
What? That is horseshit.
Anyway,
Oh, that is horseshit.
anyway, also
Oh,
yeah, because
gracious.
I'm also learning how to recognize what a compliment is. Anyway, but no, I want people to be accountable. So because I'm trying to make myself more accountable for everything I do, and I look back at a lot of times where I gave consent or I went along with something because one, I am also a people pleaser. I want to help people out. I want to give more than I should, and I'm never gonna not give less, but I'm gonna be
Mhm.
more conscious of it. Like I'm gonna be more aware of it. Probably still gonna give way too much, but I
Yeah,
mean,
because it's wasted
you
here.
everyone is who they are. And yeah, God, I'm happy with consent. I'm happy where we've come in our life. In our
Yeah.
lifetime, we're seeing an evolution of not just kink, not just consent, but equality across the board. And it is a constant fight. And we're at a point now where you can't just be like quiet about it. You have to. Everyone should be on your soapbox. I
And
know
admit
we're on
it.
a fucking podcast, but
Yeah.
why are everybody else not just as outraged as we are? Do it.
I mean,
Don't
I'll admit it freely. I am happy when I come in life.
Oh shit.
I won't
somebody
hide
asked
it
me a
anymore.
goddamn question. Anyway, but I want people to just be accountable for themselves. I'm sure John would take my compliments. Probably know I would. Especially if you let me live in your fro. I want to build a nest in there and I want a nest. Like I'm a nester now. I want to nest in that fro.
He really
And just be
does.
like, I want to hide out. I want to like baby Yoda it where I like pull it back and I'm like,
He made the sound and everything.
I know he did.
yeah.
I'm proud of him. Yeah, that's nice. That's hot.
I mean, I just want to
But
jump. I just want to jump in this chair. Mm.
I
Yeah.
I I honestly love all of you guys. I love Rebecca. I love you, Shep. I love you. I love our community. I do. I genuinely care about you guys, and you mean the world to me. And I'm proud of all of us for getting farther in life and getting where we're at. And I'm proud of us as people recognizing consent and learning that consent is not just consent to another person, but consent to yourself as well.
Mhm.
I didn't consent to that,
Wow.
but
If
I'll
you didn't
accept
want to
it.
learn, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say if you didn't consent to learning, you shouldn't have tuned in. I feel like tuning in is consent. You ain't gonna be here. Watch. I just won't be here. Boom. Not here.
uh, okay. Oh,
See, you can
gracious.
nope out. I just took consent back. Oh.
No, that was
I
empty.
mean, our the host of the WDI podcast, Arugs, she has withdrawn content consent before. I've seen her do it. I've seen her just I'm withdrawing the
Nope.
consent of this content and just noping out of the show. I'm very proud of her for that because Arugs 2 years ago wouldn't have done that. She'd have taken it all and just cried about it. New Arugs had women like, you know what? Nah. And that is what we call growth and progress of being able to withdraw consent.
The dash of corruption.
And a
Dash of
dash of
corruption.
corruption.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, I like to
Um,
build. Part of learning when to pull consent is building that shell that they can't crack. So you're like, "Fuck you! What are you gonna do? Hit me,
Knowing when to
shell."
pull out is important.
Pull out game. Never trust a pull out game.
yeah. I don't know. There's just a lot of things that because we're in that evolutionary period, and I feel like any community goes through this growth period, that we still have that mixture of just toxic ideas, like butting heads with the whole trying to grow situations. And
It's you know what? it's not even toxic ideas. It's relearning. I mean, we talked about earlier, like the old guard is not necessarily age, but also evolution. Me and Shep are old, so we went to purgatory. We did a thing, and we realized we're the old people there. Like we're all everybody running the actual show are young. They know their shit. This is like computers to our grandparents. We knew computers because we grew up with them. Like we came of age in the age of computers. We're like email www dot stands for World Wide Web. I know my shit, and old people are like, the fuck is this?
Right.
And so we're there and we're looking, and to them it's just second nature. They just go. They're on click. They're there, and so it's a constant like, okay, I have got to monitor myself. I've got to constantly check myself. Am I still am I still on fleek?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
One of us had to. Don't include me in this.
You don't ever wonder, am I has anything. Oh yeah, I forgot you were on that Arugs happy hour where you're like, nothing should change.
No, it was a Dinks with Kings. It was when we were. Oh well, yeah, he was the old curmudgeon, yes, but I
Yeah,
mean,
he
he
was
was
an old
also in that with
curmudgeon.
that. What's this? Like leather, black leather. What is this? Like
Yeah.
Black boot.
black boot.
Fleek is
Oh,
dead. Okay,
sorry, my
Fleek is
bad.
dead. Thanks, Calvino. But no, it is that like not just staying trendy because we're content creators, but staying with the times because it is so easy to
Evolving.
just be like, yeah,
Yeah.
evolving because it is so easy to just go up one day and be like, are you really a bigot or are you just refusing to learn outside of that?
Well,
Right.
no. See, I acknowledge I am the oldest of the group, as it were, but it's
I
the
think Sean's the
it
oldest.
it's the
Nev.
Nev is the oldest.
Nev is
well,
the
yeah,
oldest.
I mean, oldest. Then the purgatory between us and such. I've always realized that it's just, but in my particular skill set, it is the younger generations that are evolving to appreciate my skill set and coming to me. So
Oh no, and I agree with that. But it's still always on my mind. Like I said, I'm last show, the recent show. It was great. It was fantastic. I had a blast, and I didn't have any moments where I'm like, oh, I'm fucked up. But it is constantly on my head.
I
Like
was surprised
it's
that I wasn't more worn out afterwards, especially having to
yeah,
compensate for others being signed up on other people when they weren't there, so I had to do extra. But yeah.
yeah. But I mean, no, I wasn't worried. Like I'm too old to physically do this stuff. I'm more worried that I am not evolving.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I am stepping over something, not because I have no interest in it. I'm just not aware of it. Fuck. Shit.
Right.
So much change. We're getting in a world of technology. Like language is changing so fast because now content is coming out faster. Trends
Mm-hmm.
are moving faster. Everything's moving faster. And it's partly because one, we're old, and partly because technology is getting better.
Well,
That's
that's
why
why I have you
evolution is
guys,
moving faster.
so I can just show up.
Yeah. And that's what I always worry about. I worry about, is there gonna come a point where I just stop? Not because like I have you know said fuck it, I'm in my ways, but I'm just not aware. Life
Life
is
is
a
a
young
young
person's
person.
game. Yeah, I mean it really is. Going out, and the reason the old guard still exists is because people are like, fuck you, evolution. Uh I didn't come from monkeys. The earth is flat. They just refuse they refuse to acknowledge change.
Mm-hmm.
But how many people are like, they're just not aware of the change?
That's true.
I've seen people, yeah, they're not aware it changed. They're not old guard because they're not fighting the change. They have no fucking clue. They don't have social media. They don't TikTok. They don't.
Did the tickety tax?
No, no,
There you
there's
go.
still the other type, which is where I fall into. They're the ones of enjoy the change. I'll be here if you need me. Mm.
But there's some people who are so into the change, it's not even funny. So there's this old couple, and when I say old couple, coming to purgatory, I
Oh,
mean
yeah.
old couple. I mean
Mhm.
my grandfather old.
Mm.
Those fucking cats
They don't change,
are no, they do change.
but
They are.
still,
I talk to them. They don't change their act. They're still these beautiful, wonderful people, but they know consent. They are not old guard by any stretch of the means,
yeah.
and they are beloved for it. And I'm like, my God, you were literally older than my grandparents.
His outfit will never change though.
And his outfit will never change. It's fucking gorgeous. Corset, old man, bearded old man, corset, speedo, tights, platform heels,
Oh, red.
Nice.
Yeah.
feather boa, and an old man hat. He always keeps his old man hat.
All every time.
And he looks like a grandpa, but he will get on stage and he will dance and he will perform a whole show. And that man understands consent. He understands and he evolves and changes. I always want to be that guy, but I'm afraid that one day I'm just going to get real dumb.
It's like an old speedo goth pimp guy.
Do any of y'all have that fear? Like,
Um, no, I don't because
because
I work very hard. I work very hard because of my kids. I work very hard to
hmm,
make sure that I am still evolving and being very socially aware. And I don't worry about
but
that because my dad is that way. Like so I
yeah,
just was yeah, my dad's just like just evolve. Dad, we don't say that anymore. Oh, okay, cool. So we don't do that. So we just like you just learn. You just
yeah.
learning and evolving and I grow and growing. So I don't fear. I don't have that fear. I
I
think
know the
I'll
reason I
be
have fear is because I know one day my kids are going to grow up. I'm not going to be keeping up with trends because I have to make sure they're not watching like they're not getting predatored upon because they're
right.
like 18 now, and I'm like, fuck, if you haven't learned not to be predatored upon by now, I failed as a dad. You should know by now. So I'm going to
Right.
stop. I'm going to give you your freedoms. And that's when I'm really afraid it's going to happen. When I'm not, there's no trend thing. When I've eventually said, I'm not going to stream anymore, I don't see myself streaming at 60.
Oh no. No, 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 no. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I will
No.
become I will become irrelevant. That's what I'm one of those days I'm going to hit a point where I'm like, I'm pretty okay being irrelevant.
Yeah.
I'm there.
You're
I
okay
still
being
like the train
irrelevant?
though.
So, but anyway, I know that went on a whole tangent, and but I kind of want to do it because I'm like, we are getting up in age, and I've seen
Right.
people getting there. I'm like, well, when
Your
did we
body
come
faster
first?
than mine.
People, well, yeah, my body faster than you. I do a lot harder shit. I snort cocaine off little people's ass. See, I would have 10 years ago. I'd have said a different word. I don't actually snort cocaine off little people's asses.
I was about to say, I was like, what?
There used to be a phrase we
No,
used
because
to
my ass ain't
say,
little.
and it was offensive. Well, it's considered offensive now. I mean, I guess it was still offensive then, but yeah. Like, what do you do? I'll snoop, and I'm gonna say it, and no one fucking clip it because I don't want to take it out of context. But here it goes. I'll sniff cocaine off a midget's ass. Let's do this. You can't say that shit no more.
Mm-mm. My daughter reported a kid in her class for saying the R word. And that's what we used to call each other all the time. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like that. Oh, yeah. And I was like, I'm proud of you. She goes, that's a slur. And we don't do that. And I'm like, good for you, baby. Like,
yeah.
good for you.
There's so
So,
many things you just can't say anymore.
right.
God, when was the last time you said, oh, "That's gay"?
I hate that. I
Right?
hate that. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, "Ugh," like I hate that. I hate
But
when people say
that
that.
used to be like, "Oh, that's so gay."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What is the original meaning of the word?
that's not how we used it, Shep. That when
I
you said,
know.
"Oh, that's so gay," that's not how we used to. That's not how we used to use it. It was very derogatory. It's not about what the word used to mean because you know what swastikas used to mean prosperity. It's not what it means
You
anymore. It's fucking Nazis. You're never reclaiming the swastika. You're never gonna reclaim gay means happy. That's
Right.
not a thing.
Right.
Poor
Once the
gay
slur,
Patty.
yeah, like you said, gay is not a bad word. You could use it all the time, but the phrase, that's okay. And don't get me wrong, I still say that, but I say it to my gay friends, and they'll do something. I go, "That's so gay," and they go, "I know, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Or they'll look at me because I have one of my gay friends who'll look at me and go, "That's so straight."
That's
And I'm like,
funny.
Or the
"I
poor
like that. I
French,
love it."
or the poor French people and what they call a cigarette.
Gay por
Mm.
a fag. Let me smoke the
Well, but
fag.
that's what
Um,
that's what it's called.
but that's in a different language, okay?
Yeah, I know.
If I say the color for black in
In
Spanish,
Spanish, yeah, yeah.
yeah, let's not determine what it means in a different language. Doesn't change the fact what it means in English, and we speak English. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that right there, that's evolution of going. Can't say that no more. Doesn't
No,
mean what it
that's
used to
word
mean.
bastardization.
Yes.
No, that's just evolution. That's change. Because no one here
Oh,
courts anymore.
Black
Well,
boot.
but anyway, somebody asked
Blackfoot.
me the goddamn question of what we're doing this week so we can end this damn
What are we
podcast.
doing this week? What are we doing this
Shit,
week?
we're doing stuff. It's gonna be
Being
cool
Great.
irrelevant.
content. God, thank
Cool.
God. I'm just like, I want to be done, but I'm like, fucking ask me the question.
Okay. What are we doing this week, John? Shit.
This
We're doing
week,
shit.
right after this, we're going right into the freaking the femboys out. We're gonna freak out all the femboys, which I'm glad is such a positive word now. Like femboy used to be a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing. They took that back.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I
And I'm
fucking
proud of
love
that.
it.
Mm.
With our favorite little
Mm.
femboy, Miss Hope, they are going to be doing. I think they're playing a little
Fast.
Fazzy. Yeah, they're
Yes.
playing a little Fazzy and having a lot of fun. So we're gonna raid right over to them. So you ain't got to do anything for that. Tomorrow we have Saturday Shenanigans at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Central, where I think Miko is still playing Skyrim.
Skyrim. Mm-hmm.
He's back at she's still in Skyrim, and that is on Miko's channel right there. And you can check that out. Following this, and I am proud to say, our favorite Viking bearded bastard is back. Great Big Bear will be streaming at his normal time with Bear Games, and they're doing God of War, and that is on Bear's channel right after
Mika.
Saturday Shenanigans. So I'm happy to have him back. I forgot what he looks like. I think he has a beard. I don't know. Could be. It's been a while since I've seen him. Anyway, Sunday, we get double doses of that lovely Arugs. One at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central, where with Waking Up with Nana and Pep Pep, where they're going to talk religious trauma and all the shit it fucks up. See, here we come and bitch about, like, consent and all this stuff. They're going to bitch about religion. You get bitching across the board. It's fantastic. I love it. And that is right there on the Nerd Mom Ace channel. And then you take a little break. You come down off that church binge. You're like, I got my dose of anti-religion, and I'm happy about it. Oh. Then you're gonna go out and you're gonna join the wasteland. You're gonna fuck around and find out with Sunday 76 Sundays with the Roogs, where she plays Fallout 76. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I like it. The fuck around and find out in the wasteland.
Fuck around, find
Followed
out.
directly by the BSBN Gaming across
Right.
the entire network, right there. That's everybody. And after that, Zartnor After Dark with Nev. And I don't know what he's playing right now, but it's probably something cool because Nev plays some cool fucking games. I am
Yes.
excited to announce something.
What?
I have a new stream coming out, and it will probably be you'll actually probably take the spot between Waking Up with Nana and 76 Sundays because I have a big block right there where I need something to do. But not Fallout, Last of Us is coming to Steam. And with the popular show Last of Us, I have never played the game. Like, I've watched the
Mhm.
show and I'm really in love with the show, but I've never played the game. I really want to play it now. I really want to go back and actually experience it myself. So when it comes out, I will be streaming. I will start probably after Nana and Pep Pep and then go to 76 and then dip out. Just because Sunday's my only free day. Um, or that block right there is my only free day. So, and it will be every other Sunday. It won't be every Sunday. It'll be every other Sunday. We will be doing. I'll come up with a clever name, but I want to do Last of Us as a full playthrough stream.
Yay.
So, anyway, thank you for joining us for
Yay.
Kinks with Kinks Live. Stay tuned for
Freak Out
Femboy
Femboy Friday.
Friday. We're
Freak
freaking
Out
out
Femboy
Femboys on the
Friday.
Friday. And we're rating
Yay.
right over there to them. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Till next time.
3, 2, 1.